Invite us to stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I need a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting.
So moved.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, opening comments, I've been thinking all day if I wanted to have something fun and witty to say, and I don't. So we'll pass it on to the superintendent Turner to welcome us in Albright.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to share with you tonight, and I did include it in a message to the community last week, but I thought it was noteworthy enough to say it in the open session. A couple of Thursdays ago, the Portland County Chamber of Commerce held their annual awards dinner, and they recognized various businesses throughout the course of that evening for their work in the community. And they have a nonprofit award that typically goes to one nonprofit each year. But this year, the whole of Portland County schools were nominated as a non-for-profit of the year. And I was there, Jeff went along with me, and there were representatives from all of the various school districts in the county. It was just a nice opportunity to have our folks recognized for the work that they do every day, and we, unfortunately, from time to time take it for granted. But it was nice that the community took time to recognize everybody's efforts, and they had outlined, through from the onset of COVID through what some people are calling the end of COVID. But it was nice, it was a great event they held it at Creek Peak at that new building they have there, the Lookout, it's a beautiful facility. And it was just nice to take time and recognize all the work that everyone associated with schools has done. So there's a nice plaque that is in the district office right now, but I just wanted to take the opportunity to recognize all of our folks individually, but then to say thank you for those folks that are here tonight. And thank you for your leadership during that time as well.
That brings us to our board presentation.
Yes, we were fortunate, those of us on the board, to spend about 15 minutes with Mr. Pascarella, showing us some of the spaces prior to tonight's meeting. And he is going to follow that up with what I haven't seen it yet, but I understand it's a wonderful video.
So I've explained the 25-minute presentation. I told staff tonight maybe my quickest presentation of all. Honestly, I want to recognize Mrs. Rockwell and Mrs. Bosch that are here. The other one that was on our committee to actually think about tonight's presentation is Jacqueline Davis, who's a college. Mrs. Rockwell is a grade level chair in second grade and second grade teacher. She's tremendous, and her daughter is a little upset with her that she attended tonight with no negotiations. So her daughter's here with her, so thank you for being with Mom. And then Erin Mosh is a first grade teacher with us, which we haven't tapped her resources yet, by the way. I want to put that out there because in her interview she talked to us about Toronto and everything else that she's involved in, so hopefully we'll start to see that. But Erin Mosh too as well. Did you two want to say anything about our video or anything about the process?
Sure. Carissa Rockwell, hi. I just want to say that we had like the best of the best in the brains. I feel like in our conversation about what do we do? How do we do this? What do we want to say? And there's so many awesome things that our building does, and I think that we always take for granted all of the academics and all of the things that we look forward to in the teachings of math and skills and listening and learning and the new science kits and social studies, and taking that all into consideration, we do pretty good. But we also need to consider the child's perspective, and
That hatched the plan of what's the day in the life of a Homer Elementary student.
I think, as we all know, no learning will happen if you don't meet Maslow's needs. And I think that that's kind of where things started, in my head anyways, is what does it look like from a child's perspective when they come to school? We're seeing from most of us 5 foot up.
Most of us.
But what about at 2 feet and at 3 feet? And what does that look like? And we're excited about, oh, we put this great unit together, we've got this great project going, but are the kids just as excited about that, or is there something else during their day that they really look forward to? And so that's what this presentation is about.
So we tapped 4 students, one at pre-K, all right, one of these. We tapped a kindergartner, and we tapped a first grader by the name of Scarlett. We tapped a second grader by the name of Bruce. Okay, so what do we do? Get yourself comfortable. That's why we had the popcorn too, right? Lead the direction.
What are words that come to mind when we think of school? Math? English? Social studies? Academics are a critical part of a child.
Yep.
And look at some of the things we all. These things are critical to education and really show what Homer Elementary School is all about. Let's walk a day in the shoes of a Homer Elementary School student.
Hi, my name's Annalise and I'm in pre-K. My name's Reardon and I'm in kindergarten. Hi, my name is Scarlett and I'm in first grade. Hi, my name is Bruce. I'm in second grade. When I usually come off the bus, it's really busy. There's a lot of people. Usually when I go in the front door, I go up the stairs when we go to the library. I go to the purple one.
A day in the life of a Homer Elementary School student is full of learning and fun. Students start the day with a greeting at the door by staff as they head into their classrooms for morning announcements. The students then hit the ground running with a schedule that is jam-packed with academics, specials, lunch, and recess, among many other things. Specials include things like art, music, physical education, and library, to name a few. What's your favorite special to do?
Library.
Library? What do you like about library?
I can get a new book. We just had PE and then we were studying skills. I like that there's a lot of moving because I usually have a lot of energy and I'm very active.
Did you go to art class?
Yeah,
What do you do in art class?
I write some things. We had some paper and we had to strip them. They were all the colors of the rainbow.
A busy morning of engagement sure does build up an appetite. Following a nutritious lunch, our students then participate in a pastime unlike any other.
Recess is really fun.
What'd you guys do today for recess?
Play on the slides.
We went outside in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Was it awesome?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of snow out there, isn't there?
I kind of got on the slide a little bit. We went around and when we touched them, they went after us and tried to get to us.
And after a jam-packed, awesome day of learning and fun, we do the whole thing again tomorrow.
My favorite part about school is probably the playing. I will say school is my favorite thing. I'm so excited to come to school every day.
So, things don't happen by accident, right? Organically, what happened, as you saw in that video, was 2 students walking down the hall using the sensory pathways. Y'all saw that? Right? The sister went first, the brother followed right after. Dr. Finn has set those up, but that's not by accident. Because our kids just said it, right? They need movement, they need play. So we just can't forget. That's the point that we want to bring to you. That through it all, we have to figure out how to still meet their needs. It's not just academics. And that's the big thing that we're learning, you all have been hearing from our staff and our community. It's what we're doing for our kids when it comes to their needs. Meeting their needs is not just by teaching them the math, English, science, and social studies, those types of things. It's making that love about the piece of connection, about being part of the community. So, thank you guys.
Questions for Doug or for the ladies?
by me.
So pre-K is hers, and then honestly, what we did is we called parents. So we had conversations. We remind that we followed your kid. We remind that they became the focal point in our video. And the other thing is we didn't tell the kids. We had the parents talk to the kids. Because if they wanted to accept, great, but if they didn't want to accept, we wanted them to be having those conversations with the kids. Right? That's dealing with that piece and making sure the kids are set and honest. And then connections, thinking about who wouldn't be nervous to be in front of the camera. We did a lot of front loading with our students too, by the way, because we had to let them know, right? Because what do people do when they see a camera? Mike calls. What do people do? They get in front of the camera, right? They get in front of the camera. So we had to let our kids know, be normal. Just continue to carry through the day. And you didn't see any, and Kevin didn't have any experiences where kids weren't necessarily like overdoing it for the camera. Right? And that was important to us because we wanted to catch that. I will tell you, the work there is not done. I think there's follow-up pieces that we need to be doing, that our staff need to be hearing. There was great questions that we asked our kids. When we put that in a 3-minute roll, he was here 3 days. 3 minutes on that film, 3 days of work. So I think that's important to understand too. And that's Kevin's work. That didn't count. It's not countless times we met as a group to say, what are we looking for to show to you guys how we want to celebrate. And the last piece to make you aware of, all of our families declined the option to come tonight. And it was because it's usually when they're putting their kid down. So it wasn't that they didn't want to be here with you. It was that due to their routines, they are putting them down. And I asked them, and they said, please let them know. We would love to be there, but our routine doesn't have us necessarily here at this time. That's what makes it tough for us to be able to get our kids here. Except for Mrs. Rockwell, where she crosses her dog.
So what are you gonna do with the video moving forward? You gonna put it up?
So Kevin's gonna put it out, and I'm actually gonna blast it to our staff. On behalf of them, I'm gonna blast it to our staff. Thanks, Dave.
And I would say too, if I'm a resident or a potential family coming to Homer, if I went to the Homer Elementary website and saw that, that would give me a good indication of what my child's experience would be like. So I would recommend you do that too.
And Tom, to that point, if you go to our website, and you actually go to the elementary, our last 3 years of our presentations are on that page. So this one will be there right there. Because we're showing a history of what we do here. And to that point, our history's in it. We talk about what we did during COVID, and then last year, how we were actually really, the instruction kept on going, right? So take a look at those, because those 2 years of presentations are all actually already on our webpage. So you're correct, it will be on the webpage.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kevin said, let them know, text them that as soon as we're done, because we'll push that on social media.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I hope that this isn't the first time that you and your staff have heard this, but I'm going to take a risk here on behalf of the board and say thank you. Thank you for everything that you do, not just in the classroom, but in the in-between spaces, in the overnight spaces. The fact that you're helping move beyond just the teaching of skills to our kids, but you're educating them in how to interact as human beings on this planet. So thank you. It's seen, you are seen. Thank you for what you're doing in the day-to-day work in and out of the classroom. Thank you. All right, now we get to the boring stuff. Business. Chris is here.
Yeah, that's right, Chris isn't here to take a shot.
All right. So moving on to new business, I need a motion to approve the warrants and claims. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? All right, moving right along. Next, if I get my computer, I'm gonna pump up to move along. Let's see, so we're looking at the treasurer's report, so I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Alright, so then we'll move on to, we have before you, from information, the investment summary, which goes on to the plenary vote. We'll have a budget status report. Let the IT person know, this corner is slow on my computer. It's slow. Maybe cheap. Actually, no, we take action. Yes, we do. So I need a motion.
No, that was the last one. You don't need a motion.
Okay.
Addition.
So now we're moving on to the tax collection report. which does require action, so I need a motion to approve the tax collection report.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions?
And I just have to pass this for every board member to sign.
All right. So then that brings us to disposal of items. I need a motion for disposal of a mower. Questions or comments?
So we'll surplus that to Austin's International, and then, based on, we usually leave it on for like 3 weeks to a month. And then we'll take that money and it comes in as a miscellaneous revenue. So it's been just the surplusing we've started doing in the last 5 or 6 years has been very lucrative for the district, so hopefully we'll get a good price for it all.
Additional questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? All right, so now we need a motion to approve the ice hockey agreement with our emergency side.
So moved.
Questions or comments?
How have the numbers been in recent years? Is this still a beneficial agreement for both sides?
It is, yeah, I mean, if we didn't have a team combined, it'd be good likelihood we would be able to have something at all, so, yeah, very beneficial.
Additional questions or comments?
Well, it's on the news that they're having rent time officials.
Yeah, Todd, do you want to speak to that? I mean, I could give it in a nutshell, but.
Yeah, so the officials a year ago, when we went from 15-minute periods to 17-minute periods, they renegotiated a rate, and then wanted to go back and reopen the contract. And so that's kind of what the stir has been in the media about. So, but a majority of the schools have already replied and said that they would support a third official, and that would bring their rate up to what they were asking for. So as of now, there's only one school district that said that they wouldn't be able to afford a third official this year, but they can do it next year. We deal with the Ithaca board, so all of our home games actually throughout this conversation were never impacted because the Ithaca board said that we agreed to the contract and that's what we agreed to, and so we were good. But all of our away games in Syracuse and Utica kind of hinged on what was going to happen. So, but as of now, it looks like everything's going to be good for the season.
Additional questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? All right, now that we've approved that agreement, let's move on to the, I need a motion to approve the field hockey field trip, or excuse me, the hockey field trip to Ogdensburg. Questions or comments?
Yeah.
A good learning curve. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstention? All right, so we're to the portion of community voices, and I know the clipboard is way back there, but I'm just gonna ask, are there any community voices wishing to be heard this evening? We'll accept interpretive dances, cheers, poetry slings, yeah, spoken word. All right, so then that'll move us on to our personnel items. I'd like to have a motion to approve personnel. Questions or comments? So that,
For the position that the person resigned from, you mean? Todd, did you hear the question? The question was, do we have a coach for the position, for the basketball position that the one person resigned from?
Yeah, so it was it was a voluntary position. It was a mistake.
No, she's talking about the head coach. Girls modified.
Oh, yeah, so, hopefully, yeah, right now we do have a teacher in-house, at the high school that's expressed interest. She just has to go through, we have to get her first aid and CPR certified, and once she does that, put the name, for your, to the recommendation of the board.
girls modified basketball in the second half of the winter.
Yeah, it starts January 4th, yep.
Additional questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? All right, I believe that brings us to informational items. Superintendent?
It does. We have a couple. First is a fundraising update for you. The Intermediate Leadership Council will be doing their annual food drive for the holidays. And we've also included the 2022-23 reserves plan. We put that in as an informational item this week. The next meeting, Mike will do his presentation where he describes it in more detail, and we'll answer any questions that you have. But we wanted to give you an opportunity to take a look at it, formulate any questions you might have, and then we can try to answer those for you next time.
Just so everyone knows, this plan has been a work in progress for a decade or so. We've been continually updating and tweaking and revising our long-term planning around it. So.
Yeah, the comptroller actually requires that every district have it approved by the Board of Education, then we post it every year. Correct, yes, this has been a work in progress. We were audited my first year from the comptroller.
Oh, that's right.
And then a lot of
not spending enough money.
yes. And so a lot of the changes within the reserves plan have been the result of that initial conversation and how we should be spending our reserves and looking at them.
So I think that brings us to board committee reports.
We don't.
District committees?
Yep, we have one district committee report. Mr. Finn and I facilitated the community engagement committee meeting. Josh, do you want to start, and I can fill in the gaps?
I was considering asking another board member too. We had 3 board members present at our meeting. We had attempted to schedule the meeting 2 other times, and one of those times we had several people who were not able to attend in person. And the activity that we had planned was to really dig into the data via data dashboard. And we really wanted the collaboration that comes with in-person meetings. So we kicked the meeting out another couple weeks, and we're able to get a little bit more in-person attendance. As I suggested, we had 3 board members here, there at the time. Amy, Casey, and Eddie were there, as well as a teacher. And what we were able to do is look at the results of the 684 surveys that we got back from the mailing that we did. We mailed about 5,600 out. We got over 600 back, so we're pretty good. We were greater than 10% response. And what we were able to do is ingest all the data from those paper forms, digitize it, and then use a data platform so that we could at the meeting ask specific questions of the data. So you could say, okay, these people suggested that they wanted a newsletter. And if you click on the people who said they wanted a newsletter, what were their demographics and what other areas did they like and what areas did those specific individuals not like? And it was really, I find data fun, but I just assumed it's just because I'm like a tech guy and I'm kind of weird in that way. But I had a sense that everybody there really kind of enjoyed like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. What kind of other links exist? So we spent a good bit of time on that. Coming out of that meeting are 2 big takeaways for me. The first being that that worked really, really well, and it was a good way for us as an organization to have the data in a digestible way. And we as a committee are going to continue to work with other areas of the district to encourage and support the use of this sort of a platform when sharing survey results moving forward. So the hope would be anytime we ask anybody for their input, we're able to share back to them what we learned, what we gleaned, and what we're going to do with that. And we're trying to lead by example in the committee. The second thing is we have now asked people in the committee to look at the data and use that to set up some mileposts, mile markers for future work for the committee, so we can prioritize our work and really be, again, speaking to what the community, I mean, we're a community engagement committee, right? And we just had a community survey, so we're going to be answering, speaking directly to that. So it's good work, it's fun stuff, and I feel like we're cooking. I'm happy to, if I'm missing anything, guys, please. weigh in.
Oh, it was great. There were different buckets, that were, it was really interesting to break down that information. And, I thought it was very interesting to see in the bucket under parents, I know some of them were mislabeled, like they could have been a parent in the district, but they're also, it could have been a grandparent, they didn't officially label themselves correctly, but I want to say there was 200 some odd that actually labeled themselves as parents. And of all the communication avenues that we have today, with social media, email, text, whatever, there was a resounding high percentage of people that wanted to hear like old-fashioned communication, talking, whether it's a video, whether it's in person, some way, shape or form. That from a relationship standpoint, I think that somehow we can take that and move it forward in some way with the technology we have to get those messages to people where they want to see communication, like just old-fashioned communication. I thought it was great. We could have spent hours there.
Yeah, I had shared it with the community in a Parent Square message and the last week. And I was at the football game on Saturday, and I had parents say that they had spent some time there and found it to be pretty easy to use. Because the one thing I was concerned about, and still to some degree we'll have to see, how well people can navigate it, was that it is, you can go down a number of rabbit holes and get lost, right? But they seem to think that they got good information from it, which is good feedback here. We'll continue to ask for that feedback so we can fine tune it as we move forward. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Any other? No, that's all. All right, then we're into board member activities. Well, I'm just, sorry, I'll look away after you. I'm scanning the room, so. With the cheer on with the football team in the dome. I did not brave Saturday's weather. Chose to listen to our radio station when our very own superintendent called the game.
I feel so bad for you.
My daughter drove down from drove down from it was nice that she got to go see the tree, share on her team and stuff. Nice. I think it was cool that the band played at the film because it was too cold to play outside. So I thought that was nice that there was an event that the band could be a part of.
Absolutely. And they did a great job with it too. It sounded awesome.
Just wanted to acknowledge Doug Van Etten. So he rode the bus up with the band, so Dave DeGenero didn't have to drive from Syracuse to Homer to ride the bus from Syracuse back to Homer and drive back to Syracuse. So he met them there, and Doug Van Etten took bus duty to take the band up.
And participated in the play.
He did. He
plays a heck of a cowbell. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
He had a fever.
Yes.
Every time we didn't even work.
It's a certain age of folks that have no idea what I was throwing. Any other board member activities?
I went to both games, but I want to add this comment from all season, and I think some people have been to the games have seen this too, but the cheerleading, our cheerleaders.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Performing at halftime, we've never had that before. That was, all season long, from our home games to going to playoff games, they did a tremendous job. I don't know who runs that program, but she does a phenomenal job. So it's really fun to see that halftime show every game.
You can see the investment of a conscious choice that Todd helped make, moving it from what it was to a competitive cheer program. And you can see the fruit of that.
The amount of pride you can see in the girls' faces too. They know that they're good, and that's cool to see.
What else? And upcoming events, superintendent.
I find it difficult to believe, but, we're gonna have Thanksgiving recess beginning, tomorrow. And then if you look, down at the board document, our first holiday concert is, next week. So it is going to be fast and furious leading up to the holiday in December, but, a lot going on in our school. Hope you have an opportunity to get out and see our kids in action, because they're just phenomenal.
All right, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
So there's
Thank you.